Okay, I am so excited right now because uh, just the energy that's gonna come for this interview, y'all, you are not ready. The person watching this right now, I hope you got your seatbelt on because you're ready for a ride. Listen, this is another episode of the Come Up interview, and today I have a super special guest. Oh man, you have to introduce yourself because I'm just so excited. Please let the people know who you are.
Don't mind if I do. Do-do-do. All right, everybody watching. Thank y'all for watching and tuning in. MP is the GOAT. And if you don't know, you're going to know. And my name is Aurtrell. I'm an independent artist residing in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm from Greenwood, South Carolina, originally 864. Whoop, whoop. But I'm here making it happen. I debuted last year. How many now, MP? I think I'm 3 singles in. And the
Yeah.
fourth one comes out on this month on the 24th, and things are happening, and I'm excited, and I'm very, very happy and grateful to be here.
Oh my goodness. I- for the person that's watching this right now, I don't think you know how much of a light you guys are seeing right now. The just when you meet great people, like these are Artrell is the type of person that you just need to know. I mean, if I need to put a billboard out there, you are the type of person people need to know because there's just a light about you that when we've had conversations, all through Twitter, we met through Twitter, a
Mm-hmm.
Twitter space, and sometimes social media can be such a just wild and chaotic place, you know what I mean? So being able to meet people who are just special and just genuinely good people is such a breath of fresh air. But before I get all sappy and we turn this into sad violin music out here, I want to talk more about your journey because people need to know just really how great you are, even outside of the music, but like how did you get started um in this? Like what got you interested? Have you always been around music? Like give it to us.
Let's get into it. Before I get into it, I have to say I believe in the saying that goes, real recognizes real, and the same light that you see in me is literally reflected back to me through you, friend. So we're right
Like,
here with it. But what a story. And I'm not good at telling it because I take too long, but we're gonna make it
no, we
work.
got time. Give it to us.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Okay, so again, I grew up in South Carolina, a country boy. I grew up with a wonderful family. Everybody was very hardworking, and everybody was very diligent. But family image was very, very important. And I'm going to tie it into my music journey. But given those circumstances, I was only allowed to do so much. And growing up a Black queer kid, the options for me were like very, very, very limited. But what I was allowed to do was sing in church, of course. And I think I got to do show choir in school and any kind of chorus I could get myself into, but that was it. So I always grew up singing, and thankfully I had like a very strong voice when I was young. So by the time I was 11, 12, I was already singing with like the adult choirs in church, and so that gave me my training as far as like the ear and whatnot, and also like singing with emotion and conviction. But when I was 11, I love telling this story because it was the 2007 BET Awards that year, and Beyonce performed "Get Me Bodied," and by that time the group had kind of like separated, but they came back that night. Like Kelly came out, and I think Monique was hosting. It was like a big thing, and I was so taken by that performance. I just like a little small voice said, "That's what I want to do for the rest of my life," and so that's where the seed was planted for me to realize that I wanted to be an artist. Um, but of course, there wasn't too many options I had at the time, so I just kind of like waited. I bided my time, and then this opportunity came when I was 16, I believe, and basically, so I'm from Greenwood, but there's this governor school that's still operating, I believe, in Greenville, South Carolina, and there are two: one's for the arts and humanities, and one's for the math and sciences. Shout out to the Brainiacs. Couldn't do that one, but I did get into the arts one, and I went for 2 years for as a vocal major, and I was classically trained for 2 years for the first time, and I got introduced to musical theater. So it went from singing in choir, kind of like staunch and like very like upright. You couldn't like do too much
Right.
to going to governor school and being introduced to musical theater, and that was my first time being able to really express myself and like learn my voice in like a whole new way. So that was huge for me. And then so I did that for 2 years. That was also the first time I really got to explore just myself as a human being, and I credit those 2 years with who I've kind of become because they kind of set the foundation. It's like everything went from black and white to kind of like full color in those 2 years. And by the time I was a senior at that school, we had like a college fair, and I went to Catawba College for my higher education all 4 years, and I went for popular music and music business. Cause I knew, because again, I wanted to be an artist all this time, like that never changed. And when I saw that they had a major for it and they was giving good money, so I had a scholarship and like everything to kind of work out, and it wasn't too far from home. I went there, and as a pop music major, you have to perform showcases every semester, and so I would always like write. Well, I started writing my own material for the shows, and I think my first one, it was a great turnout. It was a great reception. And then my second one, it was like standing room. We didn't like sell tickets, but you could just attend if you chose to. And so our version of sold out was being standing room only. All of my showcases were always standing room only. And I got better and more stronger and more confident as I went. And that was the journey. That was the development. So that was 2015 to 2019. Graduated in 2019. I had to go back home for a little bit to regroup. Of course, 2020 happened, and like the whole world, all my plans shut down.
Right.
But what the beautiful thing was in 2020, I hope I didn't lose nobody on this story. I tried to.
Oh no,
to
this is great. Yeah, I'm in it, and they're gonna be in it too. So keep going.
Okay,
keep going.
I'm almost done. So 2020, of course, even though it was devastating, it brought the lockdown. And I kid you not, my soul really needed that because I was praying to God for like a chance just to regroup. Right. And because I was like working these 9-to-5 jobs, I was working this part-time, trying to just make my ends meet financially. I didn't have time to pick up where I left off with my with all the material that I worked on in college. So when lockdown came, it was it was a much needed woosah, if you will.
Right.
And while I have so much material still to put out from college, I wanted to start completely fresh. And so I just got online and let myself explore. I kid you not, MP, I think I went to like 2,000 beats. And from those 2,000, I chose 500. And then like from 500 to 100, 100 to like 20. And then I didn't even end up choosing any of those 20 because like while I was like reaching out to the producers, I think I made like a BeatStars account then. And one of the producers hit me up and he offered this awesome bundle that was like $99 for like 11 beats. So I said, thank you very much. I'll take 7. Right. So I did that. And from that pool of like 11 beats, 3 of them ended up becoming the first singles that I put out. And so that's when I debuted with last year. So it's been a huge journey, but it's been so beautiful. And every single struggle taught me how to maneuver better the next time and the next time. And I feel like I'm just getting started. So that's the general journey.
No, okay. See, there's so much to unpack here that I'm so excited that I mean, we're not even 5 minutes in and this is already just so great. Okay, so like I'm so excited. Okay. Now something that I want to touch on is the fact that, you said you started out in the church, which I feel like a lot of like Black artists we can kind of relate to, that somehow the church was incorporated into our journey, ingrained like somehow, like even if it wasn't your parents or that went or a parent, it was like some family member somewhere took you to a church. You saw the church. Part. So do you feel like the church had any type of influence in just how you maybe felt like you had to be as far as musically, right? Because I know like sometimes if you're super deep involved in the church, there's different perceptions of what kind of music, you should be doing, involved in, and that kind of thing. Did you ever have that thinking of like, oh, I have to do this kind of music or fit into this kind of box? Or did you just come to a place of like, you know what, I'm gonna do what I gotta do, and that's just what it's gonna be?
Oh, that's a good question, MP. And I'm gonna answer it like this. The church, in my humble opinion, there are some valid critiques to be made, and I'll leave that there.
Right.
But what the church did for me musically was it gave me a great foundation as far as like the power of lyricism and what a great message can do to an audience, how to connect to an audience, just like all of those tools. So it helped me in that respect as a performer. And I still use those techniques that I learned as a gospel singer now. when I
Right.
communicate, especially when I sing. Like my next song is a ballad that's coming out in on the 24th. It's a
Mhm.
very spiritual song actually, and for what it's worth, I did get a great spiritual foundation, I guess, or at least a
Right.
guide. But as far
Right.
as music goes, I was very afraid to express my true desires. Not that I was trying to sing
Right.
about anything wild. I was not trying to be on nobody's
Yeah.
super porn or do any kind of S&M Rihanna routine. But as a human being, you just there you have desires and you have
Right.
wants and you have wishes
Yes.
that can't be fully expressed in the confines
Yeah. Of the
of,
church.
of religious.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you know what I'm trying to say.
Exactly. Exactly.
So when I was 11 and I decided to be an artist, I knew good and dang well I couldn't sing about what I wanted to sing about yet.
Right.
So what I just chose to do was just like kind of just like keep my desires to myself. And I looked
Right.
for the first opportunity as I got older. Like whenever I get the opportunity, I will start to do my music then, and I will be true to myself. So it was always I knew I was always going to be authentic to myself. I just kind of
Right.
waited for the opportunity to where I could explore that safely, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense, because it reminds me of like Billy Porter, right? Who he came
My
me
fairy
and
godmother. Oh my God.
me and my fiance, we were watching watching his song because I had to show her, right? I was like, "Did you know that Billy Porter did this song?" And she was like, "Really? Like he did that?" I was like, "Yeah, that was him." But it goes back to especially being black and then being in the community, the queer community. There's so much
Mm-hmm.
tied to that, and as you mentioned with safety, right? Like there's a lot of homophobia, transphobia that's rooted in our community.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly like, hey, here I am, like, and you're gonna have open arms each and every time. So I can definitely understand why you would want to do it in a way that's as safe as you can make it. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
I think that that really has to do with just a lot of things have changed through social media. I think there is more ability to be more authentic because you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
find pockets of people who are supporting you and who are there for you. So I think that that's something great because you know before social media you were just on your own. I mean, you just kind of
Yeah.
you had to deal with your family and all that stuff. So I just was very curious, how that affected you as far as the church aspect because like even for myself growing up like I used to love watching them play the organ. I was so fascinated like they
One
play
of my
the
favorite
organ.
instruments. Yes.
Yes, someone was always playing the organ and the drums. I was like, oh, I love it. And the piano, like there was something about growing up, even if you didn't regularly go to church, but just going to church, especially in, a stereotypical black church environment, there were a lot of things that you got exposed to. And it can definitely contribute to like your musical journey, especially there's so much soul. And like in the church, oh my
It's
goodness,
an it's an experience. And
it's an
I still
experience.
listen to gospel music to this day. So
Oh,
I'm
me
with
too.
you.
I
I
have a
love it.
playlist. I
Yes.
have it's called Jay's Gospel Vibes. It's on my Spotify. So and I
I'm gonna
love
need the
some.
link, sir. I
I'm gonna
need
send
that.
you the link because I
Say
love
less.
some Tamala. Man, take me to the King here every time. Like
Yes.
so I definitely do enjoy that genre and things like that. So I had to ask you about that because I just feel like it's an important conversation to have. But I'm gonna get back into the music. So you
Yes.
have a lot of just experience when it comes to lessons. I took vocal lessons and piano lessons as a kid. I feel like that's a common thing. Like, are we on the same
Mm-hmm.
wavelength? Because anyway, how did that help contribute to your artist journey even more? Because I know you briefly kind of went over it through your story, but like, do you feel like if you hadn't had, the theater, the vocal and all that stuff, if you hadn't had those components, do you feel like you would be a different artist today?
Oh my gosh, absolutely not. I'm so grateful that I had those experience that I did because wanting to be an artist, that was always kind of like at the forefront. I really didn't even consider theater or any kind of classical training, any kind of nothing until the opportunity kind of showed itself. Like a representative came to my middle school and talked about the school and changed my whole life. I had no idea that it even existed because my world was kind of small at the time. So getting there and meeting so many like-minded, creative young people at the time, I still have so many friends that I still talk to and still love and still cherish because that was like a beautiful moment. But with theater specifically, in doing it for those 2 years, and I was a pop music major in college, but I got to do maybe like at least like one musical a year. I mean, yeah, a semester, well, a year, a school year. And you weren't supposed to do that, but things just worked out that I was able to make it work. And
Right.
it changed me so much. There is like a stamina and there's a rhythm that you have to have. There's this presence that you have to have. And usually like when you're singing, you're not necessarily mic'd. And so I'm grateful for all of the technique physically that they gave me and creatively it gave me. I'm always very, very specific about the lyrics that I choose because I'm always thinking about performing it live and how it can not only tell a story, but how it can hopefully like connect to someone and like bring them into the world that I'm trying to bring them into. And I'm an albums artist too. There is something working in the pipelines. I'm just go ahead and drop it now. And Aurtrell slash mini producer Mike moment might
Hey,
happen.
let's go.
Yes, I just want to drop that little bomb. But as an albums artist, of course, you have this project to create this world or tell this story, and every single song has to add to the storyline that you're trying to create. And doing theater helped me with that, and also just like in just interpreting and like how you look and how you hold your hand and your motions, your movement, and like singing from your whole body. All of those things come into place as an artist because I'm strongest on stage, so I'm always like referencing like live performances and like being on the actual stage. But yes, it's informed so much of my music, and it gave me such a wider range of like music sounds to choose from. Like I don't limit myself to wow, I love R&B. That's my foundation. I consider and like and gospel music as well and soul music. But I love pop, and I have such a respect for jazz. I want to study that more. I love the blues, soundtracks, and I have so many Broadway albums that I'll blast. Like it's the new Kendrick Lamar. That's my gas sometimes, and I'm grateful for all of the lessons that's given me. And in regards to gospel music, singing that as a child, I think I already mentioned it, but sometimes actually I don't think I mentioned this. I grew up in a holiness church, and specifically, they can be very conservative with their ideals, but that bled over into the music as well. There weren't too many instruments that we had. I wish we had drums, but all we were allowed to have was a piano and an organ and just a voice. And because our piano players were so few far in between, I can play enough to like write songs, but I can't. Don't put me on stage for nobody. But sometimes the piano player wouldn't be able to come to church, and so we would have to sing everything a cappella. And the harmonies and the beauty that is the human voice, especially like 60 plus coming together at one time in a place like great acoustics, was always magical to me. And doing that, like growing up and that being like a weekly daily thing that we did, that's also helped my ear a lot. And when I get into the studio, it helps me think out of just the typical 1-3-5 stacking for harmonies and stuff, and I just let myself play. And so all of that, I feel like I've been nerding out when I talk, but all of that has helped me as an artist. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, seriously, no, I mean, the way that you tell stories is so great that I just am
Oh,
taken aback. So I just have to sit here and put myself on mute. Just think, I mean, I'm just listening. I'm taking it all in. So I want you to know that, like, listening to your story, um, is incredible, and so wow,
thank
that's
you.
awesome, and it's interesting how like similar our journeys look in certain ways, you know what I mean? Because I used to do like honors course. I was an honors course for like middle school and stuff like that, and doing stuff like that, playing not playing performing in like churches and having to know what an alto and soprano and all these
Hmm.
other terminologies and breathing and all that. It definitely contributes, and that's why it's so special. Like when I work with artists, because like I'm not like a beat maker, right? Like I'm a producer. Like I like to be involved, and
Yes.
I DM you. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Like, I know you got that beat, but like, what we doing next? Like, you need me to hop on a plane so we can be in this studio together. Like,
I look right. Yeah.
So and one, we're gonna have to talk about this because you said you're an albums person, so we need to talk about doing a project together. And we'll talk more info about that because I definitely this year have been wanting to get more involved with artists. Just working one on one because that's the kind of person I am. I talk too
Yeah.
much to like just be online and have someone be buying a beat. Like I have so much energy that like I gotta talk to someone one on one. I gotta do
Yes.
a Zoom call, so it's good when you're talking to artists who feel that same way of like, yo, let's connect, let's talk about this, we'll figure out what the budget looks like, but can we just make some dope music? Can we make some art like that really comes together? So we're gonna talk about that because that's just gotta happen now. I put it out
I'm
there.
ready.
Okay.
Yes.
So how has social media, because again we talked about that, like social media has really helped change a lot of things, bringing people together, giving us access to things like, for instance, buying beats online. That's something that I know you've done. You purchased a beat from me recently, which I truly
Mm-hmm.
appreciate. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you.
Banger! Banger alert!
Hello. Hey, I appreciate it. You know what I mean? Shout out to you. So you're able to buy beats online, you're able to do all these things, but I want to know, like, how are you utilizing social media to essentially grow as an artist? Because now it's really seeming to be an essential part of that journey.
Absolutely. I'm be real transparent, y'all. I'm still learning. I'm still learning. I feel like I just got good. I debuted
Same
last
here.
April.
Hello.
Hey, and that, but that's the beautiful thing. I've stopped beating myself about. I've stopped beating myself up about what I don't know, and just
Yes.
let myself learn as I go. That's the beauty of this journey, and that's why I'm
Yes.
grateful that I am an independent artist. Because when you're doing this stuff, I'm doing so good. Not cursing, by the way. Woo woo. But when
Hello.
you when
Hey, if you
when
do, it's
you're
okay. We're good. We're on
I
it.
appreciate you. But when you're building this thing from the ground up, when you're really grassroots with it, as we know, every single like you get matters, every single view, every single retweet, every single like, you appreciate everything. And so while I'm still learning, I'm a student with this stuff. I find it all fascinating. So now I'm doing my I'm putting myself back in school basically. I stay on YouTube University and I'm
Yep,
looking at
same.
different marketing campaigns. I'm looking at how ads work. What's the best way to advertise yourself? Budgets, is it like photos versus videos, and short form words versus long form. All
Yeah.
of those things are important, and I'm letting every single teach me how to be better. So homage
Yes.
came out, I did what I did. The next song came out, did what it did what it did, so on and so forth. But social media is very necessary, and I believe in like using it for good. I'm not interested in none of the mess or the drama or
Hello.
building fake connections. I'm so glad you are such a advocate for actual relationships between not only just artists and like producer, but just two human beings who like love doing what we doing.
Yes.
Why can't we have a friendship? And so that's why I'm
Exactly.
so honored again to be on here with MP. This is a real genuine soul, and
Thank you so
I'm so
much.
I'm so grateful that our paths crossed the way that they did because it was so organic, and I've
Yes.
met so many people already, and just the camaraderie is beautiful. I only have like 300 followers right now, but in my
Hey,
mind,
it's a
it's
beautiful
like
community.
3,000. Like I don't really want nobody else because I'm having so
Exactly.
much fun.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, that's what I'm focused on. I hope I answered the question.
No, you definitely did. And I just even want to bring light to, like, 300 people is a lot of people. If you were in a room with 300
Yeah,
people right now, I'd be stressed. Okay. So,
X.
I think social media has taught us that, like, oh, that's not a lot, but that's a lot of people
It
in
is.
the
Yeah.
grand scheme of things. And I love the fact that you're focused on building that community. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
that's something that's missed a lot of times with artists is they want to put out the music, which is perfectly fine because it is art, but building that community and building up that connection is so important to do, and I just feel like that's such a great component of what you're doing is you are willing to learn. You're open to, seeing what can I do to be better? How can I make this better the next time that I do a release? And the way that you do your visuals is really great. Like everything that you do, you put time into it, and you can tell that
Thank
there's
you.
an investment into your journey and who you are as a person, and letting yourself be authentic and showing that. So I think that that's so special and important. And it leads me to my question. If you were talking to an artist who they're just starting up, what would you tell them if, like, they're like, man, I don't know what to do. I have no idea where to start. What would you say to them?
The two pieces of advice that changed my life. Anytime I'm confused, anytime I'm frustrated, I go back to these two basic gems that were given to me, and I'll pass them on to you. I hope that they help. One is to take your time, and one is to network across and not kill yourself trying to network up. In regards to taking your time, you really only get one shot at this. You only get that first single the first time. You get that second single the second time. Just enjoy every single process and allow just be as resourceful as you can. I'm a budget queen. Okay, every penny matters, and you can make beautiful things with one photo shoot. So that's also like a little tidbit. Be very resourceful and be very creative in how you promote yourself. You don't need the big budget. You need your brain and you need a heart for it. That's still propelling me forward to this day. So just take your time with it. Give yourself grace. You're not going to know everything off the bat. And again, we already said it, the beauty is in the journey. Every failure is actually just a key to freedom. You realize that it's not as scary as you thought it was. So enjoy the journey and take your time. And then as far as what was the other thing I said, MP? I said to see, I be talking so much sometimes I'll be getting myself confused. I said take your time,
Take your time. You said take your time. Okay. You
and
said you don't have to have a
then
big budget.
what
Are
was
we
it?
missing something? Big budget.
Oh,
Take your time.
it's gonna hit me. Oh, networking across and not
Networking
networking
across. See,
up.
this is a real interview. See, they don't know about this. This is some real.
Okay,
This is transparent right here. Get
it
ready.
is, and we're
Okay.
here for it. Thank y'all for for,
We're
for, for
keeping
bearing
this
with me. I'm
in.
sorry,
Go ahead.
but no,
Networking.
that's really the most important one in marketing. I think it's called cross promotion, but I just look at it as like supporting my fellow artists. There is so much talent around you. There are so many resources around you. I know you have creative friends, creative people. Just reach out and connect. And again, if you're stressed on money, there are so many of us. I have several features coming out, and we're just like trading features, or we're just being like, hey, can you help me with this? I'll help you with this. And don't be afraid to promote your fellow creatives on your platforms. I do it all the time. My Instagram stories are, it's honestly less of me and like more of the people that are around me that inspire me. I'm a part of
Right.
such a huge, created, talented ass community. That's my one cuss word, y'all. But my community and my tribe, MP included, so much talent, so many gifts, and so much heart and so much humility. That's why
Yes.
I'm really grateful. It's not about egos, at
Yes.
least not on the community that I've built online. It's
Hello.
about the heart, and it's about
Yes.
supporting each other, and it's about amplifying all of our voices. We are the next generation of the industry. We
Yes.
see it changing every day, and who's to
Yes.
say that we won't come up with something together that will make it better and inspire the ones that we're trying to network up with. Who knows that like the ideas or the endeavors that we partake in won't inspire them to like change the way that they do stuff. So with all that being said, I've been paid dust. There are people with the 10K followers, or people that know Ari Lennox, or people that are connected with Rock Nation or whatever. They didn't give me the time of day. And that used to really, really hurt my feelings until
Mm,
I had I was meeting people in these Twitter spaces, and they heard my song and they gave me so much love, and they did a simple retweet for me, and that got me 2 followers and like a like, and like somebody commented or came in my DM and said, "Oh my God, you're so dope." That turned everything around for me, and that's what it's really about. And that's
yeah.
the beauty of this grassroots thing. So just believe in yourself, take your time, and network across with the people that are around you.
Man, you just said a word. And what's incredible about me and doing this platform is because like you said, like sometimes you have to create your own stuff because there are people who are at the top who are not worried about you, until you get on their level, and you
That's
gotta
it.
you gotta bring your own table. So when I decided to bring this series back, because I used to do it back in the day on Instagram, and I've just gone through different phases of like just my journey,
Hmm.
through content. And I realized that there was such a need for stuff like this, interviews like this, content like this, because when you're talking to people who are on the come up, literally why it's named this is there's such a special story behind each person that doesn't get to be heard until they've already made it, right? So everyone wants to hear what happens once you make it, once you get that viral moment. Now everyone's like, "Oh, hey," but I wanted to be there before that happened, right? Because I care about what you're doing right now and not
Yes.
when you got a million followers. I don't care about that kind of stuff because those are vanity metrics. You know what I mean? And so when you're focused on building the community, building your tribe, like you mentioned, that is what's special. And that's why it's just so important for me personally to shed light on people like yourself because there is a story that maybe wouldn't have been heard until you're 2 million followers in, and now you
I
know what I
receive it.
mean? Exactly. Hello. You know, and so I again, I know I said this so many times, but you're truly someone that is special, and I love the way that you are presenting yourself to the world, which is just you, right? And I think that that is such a rare thing that people feel comfortable doing, is being themselves, right? Because a lot of people feel like they have to be someone else. They have to display themselves in a way that people will like and consume. But you have really broken those barriers and said, hey, this is what you're gonna get. Deal with it. If you don't like it, it is what it is. I'm not
That's
here
so
to
good.
please.
You you about to bring me to tears, MP, because that was a huge struggle of mine, believe it or not.
Oh man. Yeah.
My biggest inspiration, y'all, was Beyonce. Still is. And we see she's making history. She's done the things. I think I made a good choice as far as who to model my career after.
Yeah.
But I'm I believe in astrology a little bit, and
Right.
I'm a Virgo sun and moon with a Capricorn rising. So those are taskmasters of the signs. It's about perfectionism. It's about this, that, and the third, and that kind of stuff was kicking my butt because I felt like I had to look a certain way, I had to
Yeah.
sound a certain way, I had to
Mm.
be like this artist. I had to be like Beyonce in X, Y, and Z ways, and that was killing me. There were years where between like the time I graduated, like by the time I debuted, I was going through it. Like it was affecting
Yeah.
my mental health almost, trying to set these unreal standards for myself and failing
Mm.
every time.
Right.
And for a while, I thought it was me. And like, I'm just not good enough. And I don't know why I'm doing it. And I should be like the general manager of a CVS. What am I doing here?
Yeah.
But the reality was I'm wasting time trying to be someone else. And
Mm.
I'm sure everybody has like heard this before, but if I may give one more advice point, MP, is
Yes.
it's to honor your lane because it's the lane that you were given. It's
Yes.
okay. It's okay to have influences and inspirations. We all need them. Art is never created in a vacuum. We're always going to be influenced, but make sure that you shine. And so you just affirmed and confirmed so much to me, like with what you just said, and I appreciate that so much because it was the moment that I decided I was going to be myself unabashedly. Is again when the world started to open up and these opportunities come and things start making sense and things start feeling easy because I'm
Mm.
operating from a place that's natural. You don't got to
Yes.
work. You don't got to work for that. So your identities, however you choose, your
Yes.
beliefs, your morals, your values, your goals, your vision with music, all of those are vital resources. Do not count them out. Don't discredit them. Don't don't beat yourself up
Yeah.
about who you think you aren't enough like or this and that and the third. You have strengths and gifts that only really you possess or only you
Yes.
possess in the way that is different. I hope that makes sense to somebody. But yeah. And
That
and
makes sense.
usually it's always those things that you want to get rid of. Those are
Yeah.
those are the gems. So don't
Mm.
shy away from the things that make you different or make you quirky or make you stand out or even make you insecure. Lean into those things, love on those things because those are the things that are gonna give you everything you need to build your table. And not only your table, but a strong table and a table that can fit so many others. So lean into that.
Oh man, see, you're gonna bring a tear to my eye because, like, I definitely struggled with that just as well, just because there's so many parts of me that I was like, how am I gonna be accepted into this world? You know what I mean? Like, what does being a man look like? Do I need to fit in this box? Am I too excited and thrilled to be a man, or do I need to dim my light so that I can just be like, hey, what's up, bro? Like whatever.
Yeah.
But that's not my personality. So, you know, I definitely can understand, even like from a disability aspect, being disabled and being black and just a bunch of different intersectionality, and trying to find like, where do I fit in a world that doesn't necessarily like have open arms for all these parts of me, right? And so that is why it's so important, why I preach about authenticity. Like, I talk, that's a big part of my brand, is like telling artists, producers, whoever will listen to me for at least 2 seconds, is like being authentic, because that's something that's like helped me as well along the way, because it can be a scary place when you're trying to be somebody else, and it can feel like it's going to be scary to be yourself, but then there's like this freeing feeling, because like you said, you're connecting with people who you meet along that journey, because now you're just opening yourself up
Yes.
to that, and so I think it's really special, because sometimes you can forget that, and you can kind of get in this dark place of thinking, you know what I mean? And so I just think it's really incredible, as I mentioned, to like see someone that has stepped into themselves and is openly doing that, and that even helps people like me. I'm always growing and always navigating in my journey, because I feel like you're never just like, I figured myself out. Like, people like to say that, like, yeah, I'm concrete in who I am and all that stuff. But I think you're always discovering new things about yourself every
Yeah.
single day. There's always something to learn about you and what makes you special, because that's why I don't believe in competition, because I'm only really competing with myself, right? Like, if I'm
Bingo.
yeah, I'm just competing with me, and people may think that that's cheesy, but I feel like if you only feel like you're in competition with yourself, you're just trying to be a better you than yesterday, the person that you were last week, last year, or whatever. Because when you're focused on everybody else and what they're doing, you step away from, what are you doing? Like, what do you want to do?
Yes.
What does your journey look like? So this has been really special, and we're gonna start wrapping it up, because like I told you, I could do
That's
this for two
insane. Are
I
we
could do
done
this for two
already?
I could do this for 2 hours. I could.
Me too.
So I know, but we're gonna wind it down. We're gonna get into some, like, rapid fire questions into
Oh,
it.
okay.
Okay. So when you're working with a producer, right? Because
Hmm.
you're an albums guy, you're very involved in your music. What are you
Very.
looking for when you're working with a producer? And then I'm gonna ask you, what are you looking for when you work with artists? But let's start off with producers first.
For producers, I'm looking for originality. I'm looking for it's rapid fire. I'm
You don't even
looking
have to be rapid
for
fire. That was a buzzword. Just take your
okay.
time. Take your
I
time.
say it's trigger. Okay, I gotta be right.
I don't want to
No,
press
okay,
you.
but I am looking for originality. I don't.
Mhm.
While I may have like a certain vibe in mind, a certain world that might sound like a specific genre, like a specific artist, even
Mhm.
I want to really flush out the soundscape. Give me different ways to interpret this emotion, which is like
Yeah.
kind of like what I'm going for every album. So I'm looking for originality, and of course
Yes.
the beat has to speak to the beat has to
No, it's okay. Get
connect
that
with
water.
me.
Stay hydrated.
Right, I'm doing pretty good, but the beat has to connect with me. I'm that's the number one thing,
Hmm.
and then the producer matters as well
Right.
because I take a lot of pride in being a part of anybody's project. And I want everybody that works on my project to be just as proud. And so I'm the kind of artist that likes to show different versions of the song. I want the producer's feedback. I want the producer to be present and willing to be present and excited
Yes.
to be a part of it. And again, MP checks all the boxes. Look out for the collaboration. It's so good, y'all. And this is like a transparent, like moment to moment thing.
Yes.
I'm almost done writing it. We're gonna record it soon. Then I'm gonna play you the first
Please
draft soon.
do.
Yes,
Please
I'm
do.
very
I'm
excited
I'm
for
ready.
it, and it's so insane because the album has like a specific message that I'm going for, or it's telling the story of a specific part of my life that I wanted to
Hmm.
just start out with to get it out of the way. And
Hmm.
your song ended up being the turning point in the project. It's when things
Oh.
start to get better. And so I don't think that that's a coincidence. But all of those things I look
Ah.
for, all of those things I look for from a producer when I'm working with them.
Wow, wow, wow. And then what about an artist? When you're working with artists, I know you've done, you have features and you kind of barter services essentially with the features. What do you look for when connecting with artists though for songs and stuff?
Absolutely. It's about the intention and it's about if it makes sense. I'm very honest with myself. While I think I'm very talented and I'm open to trying like a bunch of different sounds and whatnot, if the message doesn't align with what I like to put out into the world, or if it doesn't make sense musically, for me at the time, like me in general, I am the artist to be like, thank you for the opportunity, but I think this would go better with somebody else. So I'm not afraid of doing that because again, everything that comes out just has to be right. I'm a stickler about that. I want to be able to stand behind 100% what I put out. And so again, I do watch people's actions. That's why relationships are so important. Some
Yes.
artists, I think you could be talented, but if you're a bad person, or if you
Yeah.
carry your or if you carry yourself a certain way online, and if I'm on the shade room, which I don't follow, but you just get the tweet sometimes or like whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
And if
yeah.
I see you in the comments going back and forth, that's like a red flag to me. I just don't want to be associated with like certain energies. I just put it like that. But when the connection is right, and I think that they're talented, I think that they're beautiful. The options are endless. I love working with creative artists. I love working with very convicted artists, and that's to say like artists that have strong voices or just strong messages that they want to put out. Just to tie this back to my story again, growing up kind of reserved and just kind of like holding all of my real expressions in myself for so long. Once I got the chance to finally burst, that was an awesome feeling. And finding artists and producers that are giddy, like when like we get excited about music and we get excited about sharing it and the craft of it and the love for it. That excites me and that keeps me feeling like the 11-year-old that always wanted to do it. I never want to lose that like kid like feeling that you get when you hear a song that you love for the first time, or you see artists operating in this crazy insane way and they have visuals or this, just the options are like endless. So I always look for artists that are creative and convicted and strong and they're doing the work. Yeah.
Wow. And I love that you talk about, that 11-year-old. It's really speaking to that inner child, and so I think that that's something that you're doing very well and really making sure you're taking care of that 11-year-old that's looking at you like, oh man, okay, you're doing good
Oh,
things. So I'm just
like
really
thank
proud
you.
of you. I feel like I've said this, 20 times. Someone's gonna like do snippets of like every time I said I'm proud of you and then put it together in a montage. But I think that that's really awesome of just how focused you are on relationships, and that's really gonna take you a long, long way. We're definitely gonna have to do a part two because I hope you're down for that. But I want to do a part two because this
Count
was
me in.
just it was just so great. Like this was wonderful. And we have to talk more about things because one, you're gonna be putting out, some music. I know the release is coming out this
Mhm.
month, right? So
Yes.
like this is getting crazy. The 24th, right? Is what you
24th, Friday
okay, awesome.
24th.
Did not want to forget. So, we're just gonna have to talk more. We're gonna have to catch up. And this is just gonna have to happen. And I really want you to close out with where can people find you? Um, and what's the best way if someone wants to like, collaborate or work with you, whether they're a producer or an artist or whoever?
Absolutely. I've enjoyed this so much, MP. I love you so much. We're literally besties now.
Yo,
Okay.
love
Friends for
right
life.
here. Friends for
Yes.
life. The love is real.
But
The love
for
is real.
everybody watching, you can find all things Aurtrell always at Aurtrell.com. That's the catch-all on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter. The handle is I am Aurtrell. That's AURTRELL. And if you want to collaborate, y'all, see me in my DMs. Send a comment. I read them all. I watch them all. I respond to them all. I love them all. So I'm just a DM away. And the email for like all business inquiries is business@aurtrell.com. So everything is kind of in my little Aurtrell world for you.
You are so special. I really am just so grateful for this moment to be just here, doing this. And this
This
is
was
just
awesome.
extremely amazing. I'm so grateful for this. And once we end this, we're gonna have a conversation. But I'm gonna
Okay.
end it here. Well, to anyone who is watching this, truly appreciate you. Go ahead and just follow this person. Follow our trail
I
because
follow back too.
yo, I don't need to say anything else. Okay. I am just truly grateful for you taking the time out today to do this interview
My
with me.
pleasure.
It was
Anytime.
truly special. And we're gonna see y'all later. We'll see y'all. Make sure y'all tune in when part two drops. But
That's
thank you so
right.
much.
Bye, everybody.